Some would say that the pen is mightier than the sword. Although I would not want to test that hypothesis in battle, it is true that pens are used to take very complex, intricate thoughts that could have severe consequences in society, transfer them down your arm, through the pen, and onto some kind of paper or material that will store those thoughts in a way that they can be used in general society. In my discussion of pens today, I want to talk about four main topics. First, what were the first pens like? Next, what were the reeds and quills' role in the future development of pens? Then, I want to talk a little bit about the first steel pens, and last, talk about this magnificent piece of inventive genius that we call the pen today. Let's start with the first pens. These pens resemble this only in shape. Okay? These pens were used on not paper, but onto large clay tablets that were soft enough, just soft enough, that they can etch symbols into the clay tablet. Sumerians used cuneiform in order to express their ideas onto this tablet, while Egyptians used hieroglyphics and a slightly different method. Instead of using a stick that pushes onto clay, the Egyptian hieroglyphics used a brush with some dye. Now, you might think, well, brush and dyes, that is something that can still be used today, and you would be exactly correct. Brushes and dyes are still used throughout the world to get that nice traditional feel of early Egyptian writing. Next, let's talk about reeds and quills. These were a little bit stronger, and they were used for hundreds of years. The key with this is that now the tip was a little bit smaller, so people were able to write onto paper. Being able to write on the paper led to big pieces of writing that you probably have heard of, some of them including the Bible and the Declaration of Independence. Without the reeds and quills, we would not be in the place that we are today with our pen technology. Next, we had steel pens. Something happened called the Industrial Revolution. All of a sudden, people are saying, hey, we can make steel and we can make it cheaply. Now, this was not only good for the people that own the steel factory so that they can sell pens to everybody, this was good for your everyday person. Why? Because now your everyday person can afford a pen that they can use in everyday life in order to write things down, and more importantly, in order to become literate and an active member, an active participant in the society. Literacy could be traced back to that advent of the steel pen, because now pens were able to be widespread throughout society. Pens that we use now come in two main forms. First, we have a fountain pen. Now, these generally look really nice, but you could possibly run the risk of letting the ink spill out onto the paper. Probably don't want to let students use these. Students are much better to use a roller ball pen. It does get that nice flowy feel when you're writing, but it also holds inside the ink better than the fountain pen. The fountain pen has a piston inside that will draw out the ink using the air that is pushing it out. The rollerball pen holds all of the ink in, and it's only transferred onto the paper if that ball rolls, picks up some ink, and is put down onto the paper. So not only are pens very important and powerful tool in our society today, they have an intricate history that is definitely worth remembering.